You bastard.
Hello wonderful people, Connor Whitmore here again with another video for you on the Nawtystep channel, and it's time for the second video of Yearly Favourites Week 2020 as I bring you my top 25 EPs of the year. Again, a couple of rules to lay down here: minimum 3-track projects, 1 EP per artist or musician, for variety purposes of course, and I'm also including mini compilations from labels up to 7 tunes. 1 per label, can be originals or a remix compilation or whatever, and if it falls into any of those categories and it's bass or dark electronic music, then it's considered for this video. In this video, going upwards from 25 to number 1, but before that, again, gonna start with a list of honourable mentions, another 25 EPs here that didn't quite make the top list, but which I still like a fair amount. And once more, before we get going, this is solely my opinion, one opinion, not giving any definitive or objective views here, simply my personal picks of 2020, and with that being said, I would also love to know what your favourite bass EPs are of the year in the comments down below. I'm very hyped to get the discussion going with all of you. But yeah, no more rambling, no more rule giving. I'm going to drop the honourable mentions for the best bass EPs of 2020, listed in alphabetical order by way of artist name, and I will just leave these again up on the screen for a bit for you all to take in. There may be a couple that you recognise, but yeah, hope you enjoy. See you in a bit. Okay, hope you enjoyed that, and now moving on into the main list, and at number 25 we have AU5 and Prismatic with Invasion, one of the most emphatic dubstep EPs of 2020, as a combination of production and the spacey theme going on. No one song I don't think that I enjoy outright here, still start to finish kind of thing, but a wealth of brilliant moments on show across the 4 tracks, and it isn't easy, you know, making a collab EP at all, and I think they did a pretty good job. At number 24 we have Blunt Force by Bad Clark, the EP that I think I was most surprised by this year, I'd have to say, considering what he was putting out before in the lead up to it, and yeah, just a great variety on show here from him. Some of his best production in the last couple of years, and clever ideas, and also just, yeah, I think he left his best in 2020 for this collection, making for a pretty good project overall, so yeah, it is good. At number 23 we have Victor with Die Happy, one of the most wub-fueled projects I heard all year. Wavy, halftime kind of music with a lot of weight to it, and basically, if you like your moody good, your chi, dub-driven music with just great flows and production, then this is for you. At number 22 we have Alex Perez with Ravana, another kind of seriously wubby, but this one far deeper and more all-consuming, you know, gradually enveloping you more and more as it goes on. The production is absolutely unreal, worth its spot here for that alone, but an array of memorable ideas on show here too. You know, it's just top draw music. At number 21 we have another collab EP, the final one we got from IO in combination with Ryto Revolution, which is in many ways just what we'd come to expect from this fantastic duo, you know, booming big room techno, very impressive in feel and good vocal sampling, powerful drops, and also quite enchanting in a way, you know, a real charm to it. And yeah, just really leaves a mark, and I love it. At number 20 we have The Antidote by Virus Syndicate, the placement of which being as much for the musical aspect of the collection as the vocal one. You know, every instrumental here I would say is pretty solid, and in some cases one of the better tunes for each respective producer in 2020, and Virus Syndicate coming through with the quirky wordplay and hype once again. You know, a few off moments here and there, but mostly an engaging and memorable listen, I would say. Yeah. After that, number 19, we have Ominous with Ugh. The best outright rhythm EP I heard all year, bar none, and there were quite a few of those, as we all know. Ominous proving yet again just how consistent he's been last couple of years or so, and this collection being the best reflection of that, in my opinion. Saving a lot of his best ideas for it, and production is pretty sick throughout. Yeah, it's almost like a kind of pinnacle for him in that last couple of years period, in my opinion. So yeah, it's just rhythm done good. Then number 18, we have Perspectives Volume 1 by QZB, one of my favourite D&B EPs of the year. You know, very sharp, tight, cleanly put together. And, you know, I talk about music being unpredictable and how that keeps it interesting and entertaining, if you will. And this EP is a fantastic example of that. The Mumba drop at the end to close on the third and final tune being perfect proof of that. And just a really devilish feel to it throughout as well. It's short, but a lot of good to it, no doubt. At number 17, we have Psycho by Liney. Pure trap flavour, some of the most colourful, playful and chunky beats I've heard all year. Again, quite short, but that definitely works in its favour, I think, in terms of delivering ultimate impact with the ideas and whatnot. The title track in particular, I like a fair amount. The other two supporting it very well, and yeah, it's just very to the point and direct with what it wants to do, and I love that. At number 16, we have Tom Finster with From Here On Blind. Again, here we have a thing of no one track that I love outright, but so many beautiful moments across it. You know, the whole thing feeling like a kind of extensive look back at your own past, a very nostalgic gleam to it, I would say. And some of the musicality and production here is just so utterly stunning that it goes beyond description, you know. I can't find the words for what it does to me, how it makes me feel. And yeah, just some of the best moments of the whole year right here. Alright, number 15, we have Comatose by Asora. In my personal opinion, the most accomplished EP we've got from him yet, as a combination of memorable ideas and the vocal aspect of it, experimentation with structure and all of that. The production does drag a bit at points, but there are other moments where it's really good, like Self-Love, for example, in combination with Trinergy, the opener here, I think. And yeah, just so many fantastic snippets on show, I couldn't not include it. Coming in at number 14, we have Kerin, or Cherin, I'm still not entirely sure, but anyway, what I do know, it's by Amanu, I know that much. But anyway, not quite him in full flow here, I wouldn't say, but that's still more than enough for him to place on this list easily. You know, I've said it before, but I prefer the second half here, which is a bit more experimental, not quite his usual electrifying D&B approach. But even then, the D&B we do get here in the first half is still some of his best from the whole year in 2020, the opener in particular. So yeah, we get a mix of what we know him for and a bit of variation and diversification of his sound as well. So in many ways, what more can you ask for? Following on from there, number 13, we have Bilateral by Synergy. And if the Tom Finster was or is about looking backwards and entertaining nostalgia, then this one is about looking forward, you know. For one, I think it has a very definite futuristic appeal to it through the design and the production, like something that you might hear on Under the Skin, for example, you know, that Scarlett Johansson movie. But also, it kind of feels like I'm on the run, you know, in a way looking back, but very much motoring forward, if you get me, and running away from something, which gives it quite a scary and frightening appeal, but in a good way. It's effective in that way. And yeah, it's just very vivid and imagistic music, like a movie. Moving on from there, number 12, we have Our Flame by Chime, and even with one of his less outstanding EPs, I think Chime still manages to make something super engaging from track 1 to 4. The musicality of it, the experimentation, the quirkiness of the ideas, and that video game theme running through it. Once again, you know, far from his best, I would say, as I kind of touched on earlier, but it still has a lot to remember in it and kind of bring you back in. A sign of how good he is, really, that he can still make such a good EP, even though, in my opinion, it isn't up there quite with his best. And I think we just have to kind of come to terms with the fact that he is one of, if not the most consistent and exciting dubstep producer at the moment for me, no doubt. Then number 11, we have just a very beautiful collection of tunes right here. Some of the most ethereal and dreamlike music I've heard all year, and that arrives on Find Another Way by Seven Lions. You know, not to say that it's all of the stunning and heavenly appeal. There are some real bangers here on show as well, thinking about tracks like Only Now, which is one of my favourite melodic dubstep tracks of the year, and yeah, heaviness just runs through the whole thing overall. A couple other tracks that are kind of made in that vein, and some of the best vocals I've heard all year too, you know, talking about lyrically and in terms of melodic delivery, if you will, and the more chilled stuff is lovely as well. It's just a very captivating and impressive EP, yeah. Okay, breaking into the top 10, and another year, another top 10 EP placement for Dr. Rosie with Host. I mean, the guy just knows how to make compelling music, what can I say? And more over the years, I've just kind of realised how much character and personality there is to his tunes. You know, each one having its own kind of individuality and leaving its mark in a very emphatic way. And I would have to say that it's honestly a very genuine pleasure getting used to his style and all the little quirks and idiosyncrasies with it, you know, getting used to them and whatnot. And again, it just sounds like him pretty much in complete full flow. And yeah, Ozzy, he just needs way more considering at the very top when it comes to the very best in dubstep music. Yeah, just saying. At number 9, Screamsaver Subtronix, and I will maintain here that there still isn't a track I enjoy from start to finish, you know, beginning to end kind of thing. But the fact that I've gone back to it again and again, that it places here, is, I think, evidence of the fact that, as a whole project, I still find it a very, very good one. You know, perhaps even my favourite from him yet. There are loads of ingenious moments here that I genuinely love. Points where the production is a bit grainy and a bit difficult on the ear, which I would say stops it from being a bit higher here by a couple of places or so. But some of the ideas are so good, so infectious, so catchy, that it just has to place here. It can't not. Next up, number 8, and I think it's often the case that upcoming producers make fantastic music, then their big label debut just doesn't hit quite as hard. But that definitely is not the case here with Malfunction by Veer. And I think it's safe to say that he saved a lot of his most outlandish and attention-grabbing ideas for this collection. And, you know, probably the wildest EP that I heard all year. Quite difficult to kind of wrap your head around a lot of it. Some of the ideas are absolutely manic, the production mostly electrifying, and yeah, just difficult to kind of, you know, comprehend in a way is what I would say. And he always seems willing to just take his music that one step further and push the boundaries that bit more. An amazing year for him, and I'm completely in awe of his process, his art, anything, all of that. There's just no limit really to what he can achieve. After that, number 7, moving closer now, and here we have What We Had by Bush Baby. Just the 3 tunes here, but I would say potentially the most memorable EP I've heard all year. All house music, and every cut here is super catchy in its own way, in large part thanks to the vocal samples that we get, but the beats are also really solid. You know, the middle tune in particular, Screaming Divas, it just develops so well. Really, really good charm to it, and yeah, just super nice on the ear. And it's just a massive vibe, basically, from beginning to end. I feel locked in from start to finish for the duration of it, and it gets me moving, it makes me happy, gets the shoulders going, all of that, gets me in the mood for a night out, you know, all that kind of stuff. And in many ways, I think that is basically all you can ask for from an EP. Coming in at number 6, we have one of the most explosive EPs of 2020, one that many had been waiting eagerly for, and which I think delivered in many, many big ways. And that EP is Red Turbulence by Nightpunk. Now, I must admit, the graininess of the production I've never been fully on board with, and I think, again there, a thing of stopping me from putting it a bit higher here. But the ideas we get, the general aesthetic, the Prodigy-like aggression to it, running through the whole thing just makes it absolutely brilliant. And when I hear it, I feel like I'm flicking through a comic book or something like that. It's just the imagery that it conjures up, very seismic and, yeah, just completely has your attention. Very anarchic and dystopian feel to it, like there's an uprising or revolt going on. And it might be quite short-lived, but it's powerful stuff, and one that I think will be remembered going forward in the years to come. It's fucking good. Okay, here we go, number 5. Now, I think it's easy to forget, in amidst all the heaviness and darkness, that bass music can actually be extremely pretty and sparkly and bright. Not so much, you know, demonic and hellish as sweet and delightful. And no EP for me in 2020 did it better, in my opinion, than More Kismet's Revenge of the Unicorns. For me, it's just rare that you hear music so detailed and considered when it comes to how it's assembled and put together. There's such a know-how here of when to bring new sounds in and how to deploy them, giving the whole collection a kind of time-stopping quality that I don't think we got anywhere else in bass music in 2020. Masterfully put together, melodically stunning, and some very good ideas on show to boot. And, you know, when we're talking about the Nightpunk before and this one right here, another very, very memorable Never Say Die EP. Moving forward now, number 4, one that I didn't think I'd be placing this high when I initially reviewed it, but which I've grown to appreciate a lot more over time, over the last half year or so, and that EP is Luma by Vulture. Now, I wouldn't say that the project itself has grown on me. I think that would imply that I've been enjoying the ideas more and more as I've heard it again and again, which isn't quite the case. I think for me, it's more a thing of recognition and acknowledgement on my part of just how fantastic it is in so many ways, you know. I still don't love the majority of the drops here, but more so than other stuff that I'm not that big on, I can see why people would like them. And beyond that, the whole kind of intergalactic theme that we've got going on here is incredibly impactful, and I can't play that down enough. Some of the most otherworldly production I've heard all year as well, and it just has such an epic feel to it in the construction, do you know what I mean? And there are still a wealth of moments as well that I absolutely love, from track 1 to 4, kind of laced and dropped within the whole thing. So yeah, a journey, and one that I will be revisiting as a whole thing from start to finish into the future, well into the future. Okay, number 3. Now, some projects you just have to sit back and marvel at the design of it, the production, the general makeup of the music itself, and no EP left a bigger impression on me in that way, in that respect, in 2020 than Low Focus by Scope. One that I wouldn't say is overtly memorable in terms of the ideas and their catchiness and stickiness, if you get me, and kind of hearing those tunes from start to finish. You know, maybe a couple here out of the 5 that I've gone back to repeatedly. But anyway, again, we do get a wealth of attention-grabbing moments on show across the whole thing, regardless of not liking that many of the 5 from beginning to end. And also, I think importantly, it's a collection that just grows into itself more and more as it goes on, you know, the flavour kind of being gradually revealed as it goes on. And beyond that, the respect here for space and timing, the weight of the sound, it's just so alive and real and rich, teeming with colour, and it ends up being a rather riveting listen by the end without being that over the top in any way. So yeah, I imagine a few of you won't have heard it. It's just such a big recommend. Okay, closing in now, number 2. Now, I talked about the weight of sound just now with Scope, but that was the slightly lighter side of dark electronic music, and here we have the heavier version of that, a seriously imposing EP that leaves absolutely no survivors in its wake and is as savage and cutting as a collection could be without going overboard with the ideas and the production. And that EP is Quarter Inch by Chi. There is such a body and beastliness to this project which I just don't think can be played down at all. Yet simultaneously it feels so carefully constructed and pieced together. A lot of heavy bass music now just feels so mindless in its formulation, you know, no real method behind the madness, but the attention here to the angling of every single sound just gives it a class, I think, that can't be ignored. And the vocal sampling is top-notch throughout, and some of the most gripping ideas I've heard all year as well. It's brooding, monstrous, and unapologetically forthright, and yeah, I like it a damned lot. Fully deserving of a top 2 spot right here. But coming in at number 1, my favourite EP of the whole of 2020 in bass music, dark electronic music. Quite simply, no other EP that I've happily listened to over and over on repeat, no skipping at all, and I can get to the end of it each time and want to play it again directly after, straight away. Such is the intensity of the feeling it provides, that being quite a sad and remorseful one, that feeling. The most moving EP I've heard in 2020, no doubt, no question, and in a good way, you know, it's one to identify with and relate to. And that EP is Odyssey by Direct. Every now and then you come across a piece of music that just resets your perspective and outlook on life quite a bit, you know, makes you question things and remember things from your past, and almost kind of provides a gateway for experiencing emotions that you haven't in a while, or even ever, I would say. And this project right here does that 5 times with the 5 different tunes we get here, each one following on from the last one perfectly and furthering the story that is Odyssey. It's just so subtly compelling, none of which would be so powerfully told without the incredible production level we get throughout here, the chilling vocals, the ideas which are so engaging and memorable and timeless, all the while an aching melancholy kind of underpinning it, driving it forward. And you know, I get the shivers just thinking about it, you know, the vulnerability with which it's delivered. And you know, I just think that bass music that inspires reflection has to be cherished a lot more, a side of dark electronic music that I think deserves far more recognition for what it delivers and the feeling it can elicit in you. Almost feels in a weird way like a friend that will never leave your side and be with you there forever. And yeah, I love it, I'm mad grateful for it, and Direct generally, I would say. Another stunning EP from him right here, and my undoubted favourite of 2020. But there we have it, my top 25 bass EPs of 2020, the second video of Yearly Favourites Week 2020, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching. But now be sure to leave a comment with your thoughts on my list, but also with your favourite EPs of 2020 in bass music. Which ones did I miss out? Are there any that you really love that I didn't mention here? Drop all of your views, thoughts and opinions in the comments section down below. Just to let you know, earlier on in the week we had the best remixes of the year. Check that out if you haven't already, I will link it right here. And later on in the week we have best albums and singles yet to come, so if you are yet to subscribe and hit the bell along the way, if you want to be locked into all of that, you'll want to be, then I recommend doing so. But beyond that, keep it naughty. If it's naughty, then you know, and I shall see all of you legends in the next one. Peace.